Hello everybody, Levi Clay here, and in today's video, as you saw in the intro, we are going to be walking through the solo for the Post Malone song, Finer Things, from his latest album, F1 Trillion. So, wonderful solo on this, and when I first heard this, I assumed that it was Brent Mason, and figured, oh, that's a great Brent solo, I'll do that for my YouTube channel. But when I checked out the album in a bit more detail, it's actually Derek Wells playing the guitar solo on this. Wonderful, wonderful guitar solo. And I'm going to break it down for you. So if you enjoy it, head on over to Patreon page. You can get access to weekly guided practice routines, all of that stuff, download transcriptions. Or if you don't want to do that, you just want to learn a little bit more about country guitar. Of course, I have written several books on country guitar for beginners, 100 Licks of country guitar soloing techniques, and there's also a compilation book that you can get on Amazon of all of those books in one neat little package. Anyway, so let's talk about this solo. Let's jump on over the guitar and I'll walk you through it. So it's functionally a blues in G, and that's kind of important to know, or at least that's important to my mindset when it comes to teaching things like this, because I have to not just learn the licks, not just learn what's played, but I need to know why the thing was played, right? And the big difference between country music and rock music, for me at least, is that country music tends to make much more of a conscious effort to outline the chord changes that happen when soloing. So this is a blues in G. That's the kind of vibe that we're going for here. And like I say, I point it out because when we look at the licks, we want to make sure that we know what the licks are in relation to the chords that we're playing on. So let's take a look at the first lick. Happens over a G7 chord. And it's a very simple idea that uses a little bit of hybrid picking. And some it's fast. Okay, so it's a simple idea, but it's just executed very quickly. So we're around our E-shaped chord. We're double stopping on the top two strings. So 3 and 3 on the high E and B strings. And we use our middle and ring fingers to pluck those, hybrid style. And then we're going to come down like a G blues scale. So the lick is, it's a 5-note motif. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And picking wise, it's hybrid pick, then down, up, pull off, and then down. So that's the 5-note motif. But it's not played. We actually loop it against the 4 feel. So we go, it's a straight repeat, there's no rest. We go. You might find that easier to play with your third finger. I definitely find that a little bit easier, but I tend to be a little bit cleaner with the pinky finger on this. So we play that lick 4 times, I think. And then we're going to bring it back to a G sound. So with classic, I always think of these as Masonisms because I learned to play country guitar by copying Brent. We go. So that's a solid G major chord. Of course, you're going to hear this in every country guitar player ever. And we're just coming down like a G mixolydian, G blues, G country. And then there's this transition. Look at that. Double stop 5-5, down to 5 on the D, 3 hammer 4. That's minor third to major third. Then we have to make this transition. And what we're thinking now is like definitely kind of G blues. And the lick is. Now, when we slide from 5 to 7, that's very much like country sound. This is the 5th of G, sliding to the 6th of G. Which is us sliding from the 5th fret on the G string down to the 3rd fret on the G string. And then we're going to do our hammer-on sound. So if I play that lick slowly for you with a sort of eighth note feel. Now, if I put the bridge on, you definitely want bridge for this when soloing. But for the, teaching, I like a softer sound. But the key thing, I think, when playing this is making sure that you're getting a lot of spank from all of those hybrid pick notes. So that's all a G lick. All fits over a G. All very solid G sound. Now the chord shifts to a C7. And we jump up to the 11th fret on the B string. Now I think of this as existing around my E-shaped form again, starting on the flat 7 of C, B flat. We bend up a tone, which is flat 7 to root over the C chord, up to the third of the chord on the high E string. Then this very slick lick, which was, I think for me, that first lick is very Brent. This second lick, there's a little twist in here, which I don't really think I've heard Brent do, and it's nice. So we're around that C7 chord, and we play. So it's a little bit messy, right? We go from, and when I say messy, I don't mean it's expertly executed, but I mean messy in terms of the chord that we're playing. So we're on that C7, and we slide down to the third of C, but we actually go, this is like a C sharp minor triad. And it's just used as a transition to get us back to from the sound of C7 back to our C. It's very cool. That's the lick. And it's the sort of thing that, if you play it with enough speed, it's going to feel like a C chord, just with a little bit of chromaticism in there, which I think is super cool. So that's all on our C chord. Then we're going back to our G chord. Now, how does Derek navigate that? Well, he's up here on the neck, so it doesn't make sense to just jump down to the bottom part of the neck. But we can play our diatonic sixths for G. Now again, if we can see a chord form, we should be able to locate melodies around chord forms. Big part of the way I teach, right? So we're sliding into a diatonic sixth, D and G strings, and we're just going to take this down diatonically. And we're using that as our transition to help us get back to like an open bluesy position. So we go from our C to our G. Now, interestingly, we do get an open E and then the G string 3rd fret pull off. But it's to get us to this. Which is, very country to use a lot of those open strings. So if I put that together slowly. Now we're using that, pedaling G, and we have an open D string. And that's going to transition us over to the final lick. So the final lick is like this open position. So that's it's a repeating 3-note motif. So I'm playing that pick, pull off, and then plucking with my middle finger. And we do that on the 3rd fret, 5th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, 9th fret, 10th fret, and then 10 pull off, 12 pull off. Now the recording's a little bit messy here. What I'm doing is I land on the 10th fret of the G string as a little time filler before we go to So it's a little bit of a messy lick in terms of the cleanliness of the chord, I think would be the way to think of it, because we make this transition up. We're going back to our G sound. Now this is very much like blues. We're playing G minor. This is a minor 3rd. We play an open G string and we make our transition immediately to a major sound. So it's like G minor, G major. And then down to our 12th fret, use the diatonic 3rd slide. And again, open strings to descend. And you got this slow bend up to our root of G. So there's a lot of things going on there, but if I put those things together nice and slowly for you, it sounds a little something like this. So a lot of things going on in that, but it's a really nice solo because it's got enough length and chord changes that you can pay attention to making sure that you're actually hitting those chord changes. So a very, very cool solo. As I say, you can get the full tab for it over on the Patreon page for my Patreon members if you want to go and check that out. If not, go and grab one of my books. It is all very much appreciated. This is a very cool solo, and I would recommend that you go and check out the new Post Malone album. You know, it wasn't the album I thought I'd be recommending this year. It's not one of my favourite albums of the year, but I played it recently and I thought, yeah, this is cool. It's pop, you know, country pop. Definitely skews to the countryside. The pop side of country, modern country. But there's some very, very cool guitar playing on there with some very, very great players. Brian Sutton plays acoustic guitar on the record, and Brent Mason, of course, is on the record. And Derek Wells on the record as well. So well worth checking out if you want some licks. And it's nice to see Post Malone branching outside of the hip-hop sound that you probably know him for. So very cool. Anyway, let me cut that solo one more time for you. It sounds like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you for another video very soon. Goodbye.